and welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you how I take my hair from this to this. This is going to be my hair curling tutorial, perfect for redheads with long straight hair. As you can see, this is my hair, completely natural, no product in it. It's just been rough dried last night. I am lucky in that my hair, I can kind of get away with it most of the time, not styling it and just kind of make it look all right because it is so long, straight and heavy. But sometimes you just want a bit of curl to your hair. So I thought I would film it for you guys today because I think I found some pretty good products and got a fairly good routine down that doesn't take too long either. So thank you so much for watching and let's get into it. So in terms of prep, I will just give a rundown of the products that I use. So the first one that I use when my hair is wet is the Amika The Wizard. This is a silicone-free detangling primer. I just find this adds a lot of softness and shine to my hair, and I will use this after every time I wash my hair before I blow dry it, no matter what I'm styling it, basically. So I washed my hair yesterday, I dried it with this on it, and today is the next day. I don't like to curl my hair the same day that I wash it because I think it's just too slippery, too slidey. The curls are just not gonna hold. So I leave it at least one day. One day is the sweet spot because any more than that, it tends to get a bit too greasy. For heat protectant spray, I will use the same one whether I'm straightening it or curling it. I always use the GHD Bodyguard Heat Protect Spray. I've been using this for years with my GHD straighteners. I find that it really eliminates the frizz when I'm straightening my hair and it just makes my hair, I think, have less damage. So really enjoy this and just use this when I'm curling my hair as well. The added extra that I will add to my hair when I'm curling it is hairspray. So I don't need to hairspray when I'm using straighteners, but when I'm curling, obviously I'm trying to get that hold in there. So what I have found works for me, because I don't like a lot of that product feeling in my hair. I don't like using mousses. I don't like adding loads of different things to my hair that I'm just gonna feel and make my hair feel really greasy and gritty and not nice. So I will use some hairspray before I curl my hair, and then I will also use it to obviously set afterwards. This is the Living Proof Flex hairspray. This actually has heat protectant in it as well. I don't use this as my #1 heat protectant because I don't like to use too much hairspray before I curl because then I find it can just get a bit sticky and more difficult to curl. So I use a little light spray of this beforehand and then I will go in more heavily with it afterwards. But it's nice that it does have the extra heat protectant in there if that's something that you're looking for. Because it is a flex hairspray, I find that the hold really moves with your hair, with the kind of texture of your hair. So it doesn't feel like it's freezing it into a certain shape like that. It really like freezes it in a very moldable way. This is just what I found when I'm using it. Obviously, I am not a hair expert. I'm not trained in hair. This is just my personal experience of using these products. The other product I like to use, just because after you do use like a lot of hairspray, your hair will feel a little bit dry. So I really enjoy the Hair by Sam McKnight Happy Endings Nourishing Balm for that. I know a lot of people like to use like serums and oils for that step, but personally I prefer like a cream-based product just because I find it's not as greasy and slippery feeling. Because my hair is not coloured or anything, it does absorb product quite heavily, so I feel like an oil is a little bit too much. So this balm is just the right texture for my hair, in my personal opinion. I also have my wet brush here. This is just my normal hairbrush I use every day, and then I also have a wide toothed comb that I got from Amazon to help brush out the curls. So those are my two brushes. I use these hairpins to pin my hair back. They're just like separator hairdressing clips from Boots. I got these ones. And then for the actual styler, for ages I was using this Babyliss Pro wand. This worked really, really well for me. It still does. It's a great wand if you want a more budget option. But recently I upgraded to the GHD Chronos Curve Conical wand. And the reason that I upgraded to this was it was on sale in the Christmas sales. So I thought, let's get a deal. But then also what I have found with my GHD straighteners is I really notice a difference in the heat damage to my hair. And I know that they say with the GHD products, they are like the minimal amount of damage that you can do with heat to your hair. And because I was wanting to curl my hair a lot more often, I wanted to get the GHD wand just to try and minimize that damage as much as possible. Obviously using my heat protectant as well, but just to try and minimize as much as I can. The Babyliss is great. I didn't see a lot of damage caused to my hair by the Babyliss or anything, but I was using it a lot less frequently. I still think, to be honest, this is a great option if you, like I said, are looking for a more budget-friendly option. It's really easy to use and it is a little bit wider at the base than the GHD Conical wand. So I think you can get a little bit more of a looser curl with it, which is actually really nice look. But for today, I'm going to be using the GHD Conical wand just to show you how that works and how I get it with my very long hair. So now I've talked you through the products. I am just gonna take about half of my hair and pin it on top of my head. And then I'm just gonna brush this out, so just to get any knots out. And then I'm just going to use the Bodyguard spray and spritz this all over it. And then I always brush it through as well. My hair's feeling a little bit damp, so I'm just going to let that dry for about a minute. Okay, so now that that is feeling pretty dry, I'm going to go in with the Living Proof Flex Hairspray. And I'm just going to do a light misting. Because I don't want to be, like I said, I don't want to add too much grit to the hair at this stage, just because I find it's then harder to curl in the first place. But you want to add some grit because otherwise the curl's not going to hold at all. A little bit controversial, and I'm not sure if this is the right thing to do, but I do like to brush it just like loosely. So I can still feel my hair does have some grit to it. Realistically, I probably have brushed a little bit of that out with the brush. You're not really supposed to brush your hair after hairspraying it, but I just find that that works better for when I'm going to curl it than just leaving the hairspray on there. Obviously afterwards I will then set that down properly. So I'm gonna turn on the wand. It's really, really fast to heat up, this wand as well. For the bottom section, I'm much less strategic and sensible about how I curl. I'm a lot more kind of slapdash about how I curl. So I'm going to take a section about that big. Now what I like to do when I curl my hair is lay it flat on the wand. I find wands a lot easier to use than curling irons, so I can't do the whole clamp thing. So this is how I do it. And then I leave it on for probably about 5 seconds-ish. And then I will just cup it in my hand for a few more seconds. To kind of let that curl cool in that shape. And then that is the curl. Now, like I said, I'm a lot less careful about how I do this bottom layer because I'm really trying to create the foundation of it looking like I've got a lot of curls. So I find if I am trying to make them look really loose at this stage, they will drop out a lot quicker. So I don't mind this section looking more curly at this stage than I would want the top section to be. And then I'll show you the difference in what I do for the top section. Again, like I said, the most important thing for me is making sure that that hair is laid flat on the wand. That's how I'm going to get the kind of look, the really kind of neat wave look that I'm looking for, rather than a really twisty curl. And the other thing is I always curl away from my face because that's just the look I prefer. Every single curl I do, I curl away from my face. You can see how much these have already dropped compared to this side. I'm just gonna let these cool for a couple of minutes and then I'm gonna set and spray. Okay, so now I feel like they've started to cool down on this side a bit more. I'm just gonna take my hairspray and spray fairly liberally. I will be spraying again. Okay, so I'm just gonna let those sit in the hairspray. So I take the pins and I just pin the bottom sections back. So it's just all not gonna get confused. Okay, so for this top section, what I like to do is be a lot more intentional about where I start the curl. So I'm a lot more careful. I won't do it from like right up here. I will generally start the curl about 1/3 of the way down my hair. And then I will just kind of leave it like that so that it does have that loose, beachy look. I find if I start my curls too high up, it can just look a bit strange and like I have a weird kind of kink in my hair really high up. So I like making sure that that curl is loose. Sorry, that's kind of come out a little bit there, but you can see that the actual curl when I pull my hair out is starting really low down. It's like here. That just means that once it's done, the curl will just kind of fall nicely and frame my face nicely. And I'll repeat that along this whole top section. So taking these sections around the front of my hair, I'm gonna split this into 2. I'm gonna curl this hair again, starting fairly low down away from my face. And then with this front piece, I'm gonna do even less of a curl in this. So I'm gonna start it probably about there, and I'm just gonna do 1, maybe 2. Let's see. Yeah, so that's the kind of look. I just want it to look really soft, like a kind of soft swoop. And then it just kind of falls into the rest of the curls. Again, these are going to drop and we're going to brush these out so they're not going to look as crazy. So again, just trying to lay that curl so that it sits nicely with the rest of the others and just creates that kind of very soft swoop effect. Okay, so I've left those for about a minute or so. I'm just gonna spray this side. I'm then going to take the pins out. Okay, so this has now been sitting for 3 minutes just to completely cool and set the curls as much as possible. And we're now going to brush these through. So let's see how we go. So I like to start at the ends and I like a brushed out curl. I know some people just like to do it with their fingers, which I used to do. And I will kind of run my fingers through it as well. But I think using a wide tooth comb like this just helps to get much more of that kind of like glassy, loose, bouncy look. So you can just see with those front face framing pieces, they're just really soft now. And like very wavy, and they all just kind of flow into the rest of the shape of the hair. Okay, so final steps, now that we've brushed those out, I'm gonna give these a good spray with Hairspray. Now today I actually think my ends are looking okay, but this is where I would add the McKnight Nourishing Balm. I would just rub a tiny like pea-sized amount in my palms and just run that through the ends of my hair to add a little bit of nourishment if they are looking a little bit dry. I probably will need to do this tomorrow because overnight I do find once I've curled my hair tends to dry out a little bit. But actually for right now, it's looking quite glossy, not too dry at all. So I think I'm just gonna leave it as is. So there you have it. That is how I achieve my curly hair routine. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, I would really, really appreciate you leaving a like, a comment, or engagement in some way. It would really help boost my channel and help more people find my content. And if you're new here, welcome. I make redhead beauty, lifestyle content, all that good stuff, and would love to have you go check out some of my other videos if you're interested. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate the support as always, and I hope that you are having a good one, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.